Alright, this is my tour of the inside of a van that we created. That was like our first version, and we found some things we didn't like about it, some things we did like about it, and we're doing the second version now. So I thought before I pulled apart the first version, I'd show you what we did, what we liked, what we didn't like. And on the top we have 315 watt solar panels. I got 3 of those, so we got lots of power. Live in Arizona, lots of Arizona stuff. So plenty of sun. That black box right there is a solar water heater. So it's curled up copper. I'm not going to go into that much. There's plenty of videos on that online. Down below, down there, is a gray tank, external gray tank that we hung from the bottom. Nothing special. Walk around to the open side. Let's see, we have a bulkhead there, and we like that because the security it provides. We have an overhead storage above the cab. Next to the door, we have a cabinet with drawers. I like having drawers that I can get to from the outside, so that's one thing we like. I was going to put a back on this, but we got to the point where we said this isn't exactly what we want, so let's redo it. Another thing you can see, we used angle aluminum for most of the build instead of wood. A lot of people are using wood, and then I just used self-tapping screws on the angles. On the top and bottom I welded the aluminum, and then for the uprights I screwed it, and it was not precise enough, so things were a little out of square. Made these drawers a little more difficult to align than it should have been. So yeah, so things I don't like. I don't think the aluminum, if I had a way to make the aluminum a little more true, then I would, this was fine, just a lot of work to put it together. Stepping up into the van, what you'll see is in this top storage area we have a kill switch right here, and what that does is we've wired the engine battery through there, so when we're sleeping at night, we'll lock all the doors, we'll kill the switch to the engine, and that shuts all the electrics off. If someone even got into the front cab area, they would not be able to start the van. Stepping in, we created a shower, and we did this by using out of the box shower panel, and then the bottom is a shower pan that matches the shower sides, and the top is actually a shower pan. So shower pan, top and bottom, and it just so happens that the top drain was big enough for one of those puck lights, and this worked fairly well. But as you can see, this thing takes up a lot of room. We tried to double up the space by having a composting toilet in there, but that is just kind of a pain in the butt, actually. So not super thrilled with that arrangement. Too much space was taken by that. So then when we turn this way, you see we have a regular truck fridge. I have that cupboard open under the sink. There's plenty of room down there. Maybe an additional shelf. We have an inside gray water tank as well. So if we're in cold country, we can still use our sink a little bit. And then also, the reason why we don't have a shower curtain, I have the shower curtain for the shower, but someone fell through, so that was another thing. So you see how there's a lip on the shower here, and there was just a shower curtain, so someone lost their balance, hit that curb and fell into the shower, tore the shower curtain down. So lip, no good. Up above we have some overhead cabinets. Of course, we were going to put doors on these, but we quickly reached a point where we used it enough that we knew that this wasn't the layout that we wanted, so we didn't. And one thing that I learned is you need a bunch of, in order to really utilize the space, you need a bunch of organization, which we would have done. Standard IKEA countertop. And then that white box sitting back there is our laundry. And it's a little bit excessive, but we're like, you got to have a laundry basket. Most people have laundry baskets for their dirty clothes, so that's our laundry basket. And then when we want to, we just run the washer. You know, when it's full, we run the washer. We need new clean clothes. That's one thing I don't like about this is the top lift thing. I would have made this a pull out. I would have pulled that washer out on a shelf. On this side, we have a bunch of controls here for our water valving system. So you can see we have ways of winterizing, filling the tanks, and doing other things. We have the S-bar diesel heater. We're using Victron stuff, Victron color control panel. I forgot to mention down there we put the S-bar under the seat in the passenger. There's plenty of videos on that. Pretty easy to do. And then in here we had doors created for these as well. But these doors, I made them myself. They're okay, but they're not very, you know, looks like I made it in 2nd grade. So we're gonna get some professional doors to put on these. This whole everything's going away, by the way. But this just turned into kind of like a little bit of a junk storage. We have an air conditioner there to air condition the inside. We want it to be we wanted as much solar on the roof, so there's no room for an air conditioner up there. Although I know that in humid spots, just dehumidifying the place is kind of a key for comfort at night. I have the DC. I have a DC distribution block there. You can see I ran most of the wires up through a piece of gutter. More on that. I like that. That worked well. And then that coincidentally went past the fan and over to the other side. So all the wires run behind the walls and then kind of pop out. This is okay, but putting these in is not exactly the easiest to do. You have to know where your wires are. You have to dig at the proper point in the van where there's enough room back there for an outlet box. From now on, I'm going to be doing that differently. I didn't enjoy that process. Then in the back, we have, you know, it's a bed. Everyone's got their bed in the back. Ours is no different. Well, not everyone has it, but we have light bars up here. I like those. And then I had some ideas for doing heat underneath the bed, since I have a pretty good electrical system. But I gave that up. I don't think it would work considering my usage, and the S-bar is really efficient as far as heating goes. It just sips diesel. I have, of course, we have coverings for the windows. Those are solid insulative boards, you know, like a isopoly board, and those work well, but you really want to have fabric back there. Last thing in here, you can see in the back, and I noticed this in a lot of other videos, is the the back of the van is all metal. There's no insulation on the back van. And actually, I didn't really even think about it until I was using it. You need to have insulation on the back of the van. Otherwise, it's really drafty. You'll want that. So in version 2.0, we're going to resolve that. Put insulation on the back of the van so it's not like a refrigerator section right where your head is. Going to the back of the van, what we have is we have a hot water heater in the garage. This hot water heater is the right size. It's 4 gallon, but it takes up too much garage. Along with the water distribution system, I don't think that that's gonna fly. So I'm gonna move this hot water heater to somewhere else to give me more garage storage. The second thing you might notice is I have a humongous water tank, and one of the complaints that a lot of people have is they're constantly seeking water. We are choosing not to do that. We're choosing to have a larger water tank and boondocking a heck of a lot more. So we could probably go for 2 weeks with this water tank without having to seek water. Next thing you see, all the Victron parts and pieces down the side, and the Battleborn batteries. So Battleborn's good battery, but all of this stuff needs to be cleaned up into a proper electrical cabinet. That's going to happen in 2.0. It's really not a problem. It's just we need more space. So you got to start to consolidate and be more organized. So I'm removing parts and pieces of the van to make way for the new design. This is the bed platform, and you can see that I wanted it to tilt up like a couch, give a place to sit when you weren't sleeping. And on one side, because we wanted a full queen, we had to taper the edge so that it could fold up and match the taper of the van. This ultimately turned into a little bit of a problem, because if you needed to fix anything under there, I mean electrical, mess with any of that stuff, you kind of needed to pull the whole bed out. And this is a heavy sucker. I made it out of aluminum, and with the boards on there, it's still just it's a big awkward platform to move. So next building, the next platform, it's going to have sections that you move individually. You can disconnect if you need to get to stuff. In addition, one thing you couldn't really see from the previous video, I decluttered a bit the unmade bed and stuff. You can see that this van has on the sides, it has E-track. So I did not do this, but somebody else did. They welded E-track. They welded a piece of steel to the side, and then bolted the E-track to the steel plate. And they did that in 2 places, one in the middle and towards the top. And so everything that I have in here is bolted to the wall via this E-track, and it's pretty flexible. Yeah. So now that I have the sides completely taken off, you can see that what I was referring to. You have a piece of steel track, not a steel track, steel plate that has been welded in, and then the E-track is just bolted into that steel track rather than going through the van wall. Kind of interesting, very strong. I think if we ever got in an accident, basically it pulled the sides of the van in before it let anything go forward.